If you're an Etsy seller, you're probably no stranger to the fact that there is a ton of different advice out there on how to get your sales, how to rank, and how to show up on supposedly that first page of Etsy. The problem is that some of that advice, while accurate, there's also plenty of advice out there that's either outdated, slightly inaccurate, or sometimes just made up. As an Etsy seller since 2017, and as someone who runs multiple six-figure businesses in both the handmade and print-on-demand world, I've seen my fair share of advice out there. I've also personally audited hundreds of Etsy shops over the years, and the factors that truly determine whether a shop is successful and whether it's, quite frankly, not, it really boils down to just three things that you need to always have in mind in order to actually make sales. So for today, we're mixing up our style a little bit. We'll do some drawing on the whiteboard, and I want to walk you through what those three things are and how you can use them to solve the problem of not getting sales in your own Etsy shop. The first one is what I call discoverability. When we talk about discoverability, that's going to be a combination of things like your SEO, your keywords. Are you optimizing your listings and your shop? Which factors into Etsy ranking, the key components of that being the query matching, meaning are the keywords you're using for your listing matching with what your ideal buyer and your customer is looking for. And the second part of that ranking are those 7 different criteria. The top 2 of those being the listing quality score and that customer experience rating. Both of those tie into where you show up in those rankings. And when we talk about Etsy ranking, you often see this promise of showing up on the first page of Etsy and guaranteed to do that, or being able to run searches and find your listings on the first page. Stop searching for your listings on the first page of Etsy when you run searches, because that's not how the Etsy ranking works in the algorithm. Etsy uses a variety of different factors, including the ones that we've talked about, to really determine based on the customer and their past purchases, their past searches, their past interaction on the platform. That is how Etsy bases your ranking. And so if I run a search for a dog mom shirt and try to find my listing, it might show up on page 1, but if you run that same exact search, it might show up on page 5 or 6. And that's because our search history is different. Our interaction with the platform as a user is different. And that matters on Etsy as Etsy tries to do a better and better job of matching customer searches to what they're actually looking for. Instead, you need to focus on these 3 aspects to improve your chance of getting a sale. Stop focusing on getting on that first page. Focus instead on your customer and how they're finding you and these other 2 aspects that we'll talk about. The other element of discoverability is traffic. So this could be Etsy ads. This could be you paying for ads to boost where your listings might be showing up as part of that. This could also be driving your own Etsy traffic, whether it be from social media or from driving your own email list to your shop. Traffic is another way to almost kind of force discoverability outside of the natural ecosystem of that SEO and Etsy ranking component. Now the second part of this is going to be what I called clickability. So a customer is searching and they find your listing, but then do they actually click on your listing? And that is where, again, query matching is technically a component of that, because it might be showing up, but if it's completely unrelated to what they're searching for because you use a different keyword, it might not attract them to click on it. So having the correct and relevant keywords is an important part of that. Having a listing video is another part of that. Listing videos help to stop the scroll because they create movement on the screen. So it can be a way to attract them to click on your listing. The other element of clickability is the mockup. How attractive does it look against some of the other listings that are right up against those search results? How about the design? Is the design relevant to what they're looking for and what they typed into the search? Is it a good design on a quality mock-up? Again, all of these are going to factor into the decision, that split second of whether a customer decides to click on your listing or not. You get one chance on Etsy to make a first impression when a customer searches and sees your listing. If it is not clickable, they won't click on it. And if they're not clicking on it, you can't make a sale. And so then the third and final element we've got with this is desirability. So we've got to the point of they found it, they clicked on it, do they want it? Is it a desirable product? So this can come down to the actual product itself. It could come down to once they get a closer look at the design, or maybe when they saw the design in the search results, maybe it was really tiny. So then they clicked on it and realized up close it maybe was or wasn't what they thought it was for the design. It could be color options. Maybe there are a lot of options, maybe there are not very many options. That can be a factor into whether or not it is desirable for that customer. Is it, again, what they were looking for when they typed that initial search into the search bar, found your listing, clicked on it, and then got to it? Sometimes pricing and shipping might be an element into their decision-making process. All of these, again, are going to be factors into whether or not the customer actually then converts into a sale. So then that means when we take discoverability, clickability, desirability, what you got in the center here, when all of those factors align, is a sale. And so that is where we can start to dissect each of these different elements if we aren't getting sales. For example, take a look at your shop, take a look at your listings. Are you getting any views in your shop? That means, are you even getting found in those search results? If you aren't getting any views, meaning no one is seeing your listing and having a chance to interact with it, that means you've got a discoverability problem. It means that your keywords aren't aligning with what a customer is searching for. Maybe not enough people are searching for it. Or maybe it's in a niche that is really, really big. And so your listings as a new shop, no matter what you do, are going to be in the bottom of page 12 and 13 in those search results because you are competing in a large market against a lot of other shops that already have higher ranking in their shops because of their existing listing quality score and their customer experience rating as a shop. Doesn't mean you can't get there, but as a new shop, you need to be able to be discovered. And this is where identifying smaller sub-niches can really help with that. Perhaps in your shop, you're getting views, but you're not getting any visits, meaning you're not getting any traffic actually clicking into your listings to find out more about them. So you're showing up, but you're not clickable. So when we think about the elements that we talked about with clickability, it could be your mock-ups, could be your designs. Those are two really big culprits when it comes to not getting this clickability element as a shop and for your listings. So going back and revisiting your mock-ups, making sure that they are very presentable, making sure that they're not generic, making sure that they look good and are giving you a good first impression of your listing and really letting your design shine. And again, it could be your design too. Oftentimes, especially as a new shop, it takes some time to get better at designing, and that's okay. But if you're not getting clicks into your listings, there's a good reason why, and it's a good place to look when you are trying to pinpoint actions that you can take. And then of course, if you are getting views and you are getting visits, meaning people are finding you, people are clicking on your listings, but they're not converting into a sale, That is where we then assess desirability. So perhaps in your mock-up, everything looks good there, but when they get into the actual listing, perhaps once they see the design up close, it's not what they were looking for. So maybe your mock-up isn't zoomed in far enough on that design. Or maybe it's zoomed in too far and it looked like maybe a t-shirt from the mock-up, but when they actually clicked on it, it was a sweatshirt, and that wasn't what they were looking for. So again, you need to look at your actual product, look at your color options. Quite often I see shops offering lots and lots and lots of color options. That can lead to customer decision fatigue, to the point where sometimes they don't make a decision at all and they exit the sale and they don't convert. So these are all things that you can be looking at and experimenting with your listings and with your products. And sometimes if you are seeing these other things working, meaning you're showing up in searches, they're clicking on your listings, and maybe you do see lots of favorites going on with your listings, those are clues too. And sometimes it's just a matter of time in terms of when those views and clicks actually convert into a sale. Remember, with conversion, even to get just a 1% conversion rate means visit it 100 times to get that one sale. That's 1%. And so keep that in mind. Sometimes you just need to give it a little more time and keep focusing on creating more listings that are creating this cycle of getting found, getting clicks, and then eventually will turn into sales. Now, with all of this, you might be thinking, okay, but how can I improve my shop to make sure I'm hitting all three of these? And the answer to that really boils down to research. I know, you hear me say this a lot, but it's truly the foundation of making sure that all three of these work. It means that in order to get here, in order to make sure that all of these are aligning and all of these are converting into a sale, it means that you're doing research. Whether you're doing that research on something like eRank or Everbee or directly on the Etsy search bar if you're really bootstrapping it, all of those are viable, but you need to be doing your research. And then clickability, researching design styles, researching mock-ups that are performing well. Look at listings that are in demand. What design styles? Look at patterns, look at colors, look at typography. All of those different elements work together to create that clickability. Look at the listings with Popular Now. Click into them. Look to see if they're in demand. You've heard me say that in other videos a million times, and there is a reason for that. Those listings are selling for a reason. Those listings are clickable for a reason. Pay attention to that. Look for the patterns that you see with those and put in the time and effort to make sure your designs and your mock-ups are making a good first impression so that your listings are clickable. And then of course with desirability, that comes from creating products and designs that are desirable for your ideal buyer. The more that you can tap into who your buyer is and who your ideal customer is, the more that you will understand the design elements, the words, the lingo, whatever it might be, and how that will resonate with them. And the more you can connect with them and the more that you can create a product that is desirable for them, especially one that is maybe unique compared to everything else that's out there on Etsy, don't just recreate the same thing that's been done. Make something that's unique and interesting so that it's desirable, so that they make the choice to click on and buy your listing versus somebody else's. And it's practicing this process over and over and over again until you become an expert. All three of these elements don't align in the beginning. They don't for any brand new seller. You've got to learn how all of these elements work together and get to the center here where they all come together and they create that perfect moment when someone makes a sale. And then it's understanding all of these different elements so that you know how to make some decisions and take action in your shop when things aren't working. Not getting views? Change out your keywords. Try something different. Not getting clicks? Look at your designs, look at your mock-ups, make some changes. Not getting any sales. How long has it been out there? Can you create more products that are similar to it? Can you leverage where you're getting favorites and create some different product types maybe for that same design so that there are some different options available for your customer? Start experimenting if you are seeing areas that aren't working. And when that happens and you're not getting the results, instead of blaming the algorithm and just saying you're not getting found, guess what? There are lots of things that you can do to take action on the results or sometimes lack of results that you're seeing. Look at your data and look at what it's telling you about your shop and about your listings, and then take action. As you're creating new listings, look at them and hold them up against these 3 different elements and ask yourself, have you done the research and have you used relevant keywords to reach your ideal buyer through discoverability? Will they find you? And then ask yourself, have you put in the time and effort to make that listing look inviting with the mock-up, with your designs, and with those visual elements that attract customers to your listing? And then finally ask yourself, have you taken the time to really understand who your ideal buyer is, or buyers if you've got a more general shop, but have you taken the time to really think about that and understand them so that the products and listings you're creating are desirable for them? These are the 3 elements that you need to get sales. Everything you do in your shop revolves around these 3 elements. If you remember nothing else from this video, simply remember and ask yourself with every new listing, can my customer find it? Will they click on it? And will they actually want it? You need to be able to answer those, and you need to be able to continue to practice and experiment and keep trying. If any of your answer to these is no, that's okay. The point is, keep taking action and keep working on your listings and your shop so that you can eventually start saying yes to all 3 of these, and that will be in the form of a sale. I hope this has been helpful for you. I'll make sure to link some additional helpful videos for you from my channel in the description below. A great place to start on my channel is in my time blocking series, where I do make sure to go through all of those critical elements of research and design and mock-ups so that you can start to really leverage all 3 of these areas in your shop. So I definitely recommend checking that out. And in the meantime, let me know in the comments if you thought that this format was helpful and if you had any new takeaways from this video. Thanks for watching. I'm so glad you're here, and I'll see you in the next one.